We cut to Alcatraz Island, where Carface shows Red around, assuming he'll use it as a beachfront for the summer.
And ratatouille, too.
Ah, great. Now a bunch of Pixar noobs are going to start complaining about how they stole their idea, like some lesser animation studio.
Have a bump.
Meanwhile, on the streets of Francisco, we see the gang find their way to Canary Square as Charlie continues to hit on Sasha, once again failing abysmally. But, by coincidence, they manage to come across Peter Gabriel's horn. After another pointless cutaway with Carface and Red with a pointless reprise of the villain song, we see Charlie on the move to obtain the horn, where he sneaks his way through a police station, which at this point I'm pretty sure Charlie feels right at home in this place. Charlie Sheen, that is. He makes a small detour through the National Enquirer's Club.
You got a lost and found here?
Room 112 through the squad room.
10-4.
Then cuts through Coincidence Corner, where we see David's parents randomly, as he makes it to the Lost and Found department, and we see yet another gag.
Hi there.
And now you see why they go with the heavenly tone aspect of the horn, to make these pointless sight gags.
Of course it couldn't be Gabriel's flute or Gabriel's kazoo, no.
Carface then catches up with the gang as they get ready to sneak their way through.
Minor setback, Itch. We're just gonna have to bust it out.
What?
Charlie, don't give away the it.
Yeah, don't give away the it. We don't need to traumatize any more childhoods. And in a half-assed attempt at slapstick comedy, the plan falls apart immediately.
Uh-oh. Plan B, guys.
You're right. I think we should have ourselves an Orange Julius as we cut to commercial break. We catch up to the gang as they have completed their mission in obtaining the horn, but Charlie has some ulterior motives and decides to hold off on the mission for the time being.
A little more time.
On their way to Easy Street, they set up a magic act for the road by having him as a street performer, which apparently has quite a bit of competition going on.
All set. Let's go.
As we go through yet another fucking musical number to sit through.
Milk and honey, garbage.
Which seems to be disrupted almost as quickly as it started in what has to be, and I'm not joking here, the biggest case of music mood whiplash I have seen in quite a while.
Easy Street.
Anybody got any Tylenol? As we see them under the same exposition bridge Tom and Jerry once sat under, David decides to go home if Charlie goes with him, bringing up the collar situation from earlier, so the movie decides to distract us when we see Itchy obtain Chinese food.
Young, mushu pork, wonton, and I hope you like pot stickers.
Even though it still can't quite top the racism in the original.
A bit of Siam.
Siam, you see the calm of the English.
The charm of the Spanish.
Your rats with wings!
But now Charlie seems to have hit a moral dilemma about what to do about David, knowing that the horn must be returned to the heavens, which brings us to yet another musical number which reveals he has finally hit it off with Sasha, as we have yet another ballad for the soundtrack. Also, high singing voice that sounds absolutely nothing like Charlie Sheen's voice. You know, Burt Reynolds didn't exactly have a nice singing voice either, but he was a trooper about it and at least attempted to sing when the film required him to. The fact that the studio couldn't even find a singer who could sound even remotely similar to Charlie Sheen proves that they lacked any real confidence in this movie by this point in time and just needed to fill out their movie soundtrack. Which in the case of Heavenly Blue Balls ends right as soon as his collar time runs out, setting up the third act.
Oh, no, not now.
Sasha, I can't find Itchy.
We cut back to Red's place with the oh-so-subtle message of his well-being, as Charlie goes for another collar, and in the usual Faustian fashion, it requires a price, where he offers Peter Gabriel's horn. And with the offer set, Red finally reveals himself to our heroes as he instructs them to retrieve it.
Follow him.
David and Sasha find their way to a subway where Carface abducts him as a bargaining chip, which cuts back to Alcatraz as Charlie gives him Peter Gabriel's horn, which he will then use to control the heavens themselves.
Boss, they're hitting the bricks.
Let them. I have what I want.
So your plan was to get all the dog souls from heaven into this one solitary island? Yeah, I don't think you thought your cunning plan all the way through.
Charlie, we gotta do something.
No, Itch, it's my fault. I'm the one who's got to do something. Get David home safely.
Feeling guilty over his actions, Charlie decides to resolve the situation by facing off against the now slightly larger Red. But in a true power of friendship moment that would make 4Kids Entertainment blush, the rest of them follow suit. As futile as it may seem, of course.
Huh? Which do you want? The horn or your friend?
Hey, this is Charlie's Trial Stay on Topic movie.
You don't worry that you're going to die when you take that many drugs?
Dying's for fools.
People.
Well, you borrow my brain for 5 seconds and just be like, dude, can't handle it. Unplug this bastard. Yeah, because it fires. Because I'm me, I'm different. I just have a different constitution, I have a different brain, I have a different heart, I have a different, I get soccer blood, man. I'm by winning.
Hope you can talk, Paddle!
is then sent back into the pits of hell where he shall face the administration office. Oh, why yes, Mr. Red. It appears that you have an appointment in the next couple of 100 feline years, and we are so looking forward to hearing what you have planned for us. And so Red's defeat is capped off with another pun.
Double chili cat burger with onions and pickles.
Carface then tries to reason with Charlie on the whole thing, but then Charlie asks the armor-piercing question.
Carface. Say, what did you trade Red for your collar?
He wanted the bottom of my shoes or something. I don't even wear shoes. A stupid cat. Stupid dog! It was your soul!
Of course Carface gave his soul, not a shoe sole. It's just in the movie already. He's of course dragged down to hell to be resolved for later in the TV series. More on that later.
What do you know? And I thought all dogs go to heaven.
And so the film has exposed itself as a complete lie, marginalizing the very theme of its namesake. And so we have the obligatory sad moment where they must now depart back to heaven. But here it just seems forced and unnatural. But Annabelle stalls halfway, obtaining Peter Gabriel's horn, and gives Charlie another chance of life. Mainly because the angels just want Charlie out of their asses for a few years after everything that's happened. While Itchy decides to stay, saying that he had lived a full life, which makes absolutely no sense as he died from choking his chicken earlier. Charlie then makes clear of his promise to David. David finally makes up with his stepmom. Charlie decides to come clean with Sasha. And how does the movie finish things off with?
I worked a little magic.
Of course, the kid can now perform magic for real this time. But who cares about all that? The movie is finally over. So that was All Dogs Go to Heaven 2, and insert dog needs to be put to sleep joke here. I mean, sheesh, talk about completely missing the point. This film tries to fix all the things parental groups have complained about in the original movie by toning down the dark and heavy themes and replacing them with Saturday morning friendly simplicity, and is riddled with continuity snarls regarding the connections to the original. Not very much of a tribute to Borgnine, is it? Well, here's a few tribute clips for good measure.
I masturbate a lot.
Okay, I think...
And let's sure hope that Charlie Sheen doesn't end up having to voice another anthropomorphic dog ever again.
I still got it.
Food fight.
Ugh. You know, I'm starting to wonder if this is how Charlie Sheen himself is going to feel when he dies, when his wild party animal lifestyle finally catches up with him.